Welcome back to Superhero Cuts. The big week is here. It is Superman week. And tonight, our docket, we have Superman week is here. James Gunn says he's reading Batman script soon. Should Grant Gustin be the DCU's Flash? Fantastic Four First Steps tie-in comic is coming out. New Captain America comic review. And is Logan overrated? And then we're going to take some theories to court because some of these theories are just insane.
Yeah, Theory Court is really a great name, honestly. Theory,
Yeah,
and we have a surprise background for that segment too, guys. By the way, should be funny.
Yeah.
How are you, dog? What's going on,
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How are you?
dude? Man, seeing Superman tomorrow, bro. I'm
I
ready,
messed up
man. I'm
on
ready.
the tickets. I'm so pissed because
When you
I didn't realize it was in Dolby, and then I saw it was in Dolby, but the only seats left in Dolby are like right in front of the screen. So I'm not doing that, and now I gotta wait till Thursday. Whatever though, I gotta be real. Like if it was Fantastic Four, I'd be a lot more pissed. But Superman, like I could wait till Thursday.
Yeah, bro, dude. I was the same way with the F4 because the local theater near me. Because I'm trying to go with all my friends that Thursday to see like F4, but they didn't release the tickets until like 2 weeks ago, which is weird.
That is
For
very
the
weird.
Four. But the second they went on sale, dude, I got them so quick, and honestly, it was way more urgency than Superman. Like I was stressing, bro. I was like,
Yeah, bro. Man, that like I have in my A list now. I have two Superman screenings and I have two Fantastic Four, and I had three Fantastic Four, and I'm kind of annoyed that I have two. I really would rather have three Fantastic Four. But I'm like, two times is enough. And if I want to go again after, I probably won't because I'll probably go twice. Then it'll probably be out of Dolby, and I'll just be waiting for it to come. But these aren't going to come. These ones aren't coming to streaming really fast. Like maybe Marvel will. I feel like Marvel is pretty advanced when it comes to they want to get it on Disney Plus, and in order to put it on Disney Plus, they need to give it a period where it's only on demand on digital, and they need to do that for like a minimum of 30 days before they put it on Disney Plus. So Marvel wants to get it out to market sooner, but I don't think DC is going to be that way. Actually, maybe they will. They have Max, so who knows? But yeah. Anyway, Superman week is here. That's what we're here to talk about. A lot of things going around, and it's really the first, like at least of our generation, it's the first truly silver age comic book movie come to life. And I think there's a lot that comes with that. And there's a lot of people that are talking about Silver Age and they don't really know what it means. So we're here to talk more about that and what it means for DC and what we're hyped about Superman. But Stevie, I'll let you take it away.
yeah, bro. Quick thing about so I'm reading Green Lantern Rebirth, because I'm actually shout the chat GBT, bro, because they're giving me these like reading orders, and when I read Geoff Johns, I didn't read the Rebirth, which is what they recommend you read first before you go into that like 72 issue one or whatever, 59 issue run or whatever. And so, of course, like in the first freaking page, it says the sky is wonderful in space, and the word wonder, bro. I'll tell you, ever since you told me that word stupid, bro, I cringe now every time
Because it's a stupid word and it's used incorrectly by everyone.
Yeah, bro. Like I could have found no cooler word than wonderful. Like for real.
I know.
But anyways,
I try to using that word as much as I can.
Yeah, bro. That word kind of sucks. But I am really excited for Superman, bro. Like it is so weird sometimes because it feels like we like hyper obsess over these movies for 2 to 3 years, and then when it's finally here, it's kind of weird, that it's finally coming out. And Fantastic Four feels even weirder. But yeah, Superman, it's like it just feels like there's been so much news, so many, and I mean, I remember when you and I were like talking about Nicholas Hoult almost being Superman, and all of these other guys, and at first we thought Henry Cavill was coming back, and then James Gunn denied it, and it like there's been so much to this road, so it really feels good to like finally have like a peaceful conscience that we're finally going to see this movie, and all the rumors and all the leaks and stuff, all that stuff's going to be put to bed starting tomorrow for me and for you Thursday. So yeah, I mean, from an excitement standpoint, I would say this: I am excited, but I also am very nervous, and not nervous because I think if this doesn't get box office, like I don't really think the DCU will be nuked if this doesn't do well. But I'm just nervous for like I just hope this is a good movie, bro.
I
You know what I
don't
mean? Sorry, go
I,
ahead.
I don't think the DCU will be nuked, but it's a huge swing, and there still is a lot on the line, whether the box office is big or not. Like, this is the launch point for really DC Studios and the DCU. If DCU and DC Studios starts off on a bad foot, that is not a good thing. We need this movie to perform in box office, and we need it to be received well by critics and by fans. And those are three big asks in 2025, especially considering we're in a year where box office has been weak pretty much across the board. We are in such a we're in such a harsh time for comic book movies. Everyone on social media is trying to make themselves feel intelligent by tearing down comic book movies. It's just what these people need to do to feel like they are smart, because a lot of them have nothing else going on in their lives. Like, me and Stevie do this and it's fun and whatever, and but like, this isn't our lives. If it was, we'd be doing it every day, and that's not to say we don't love doing it and we don't want it to be, hugely successful, obviously. But for some people, all they have is an anonymous Twitter account where they're going to rip on James Gunn. That's all they have, and they're not happy with the state of the country. They're not happy with anything. Okay. And they weren't happy in 2023 either. But my point is that I think that a lot of people are very unfair when it comes to comic book movies. And if you've been watching the show, I've been saying this for a long time. And I think it's going to be exacerbated for Superman. Having said that, I still do think a lot of fans are very excited about this movie and want to love this movie. There's still a lot going for it. And I think that if this movie does 500 mil plus and it's received decent enough by critics and fans love it, that's enough. I'm not saying all three of those checkpoints need to be a perfect 100%. Like, obviously that's not happening, but if it does 500 mil plus, the bigger the better. And it's above, I'd say, an 80, 85 on critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, and fans are just like, we love this movie. That is a W. That is a W. We could walk away and be like, yes, the DCU is healthy. And that's what we need. And for me, that's what I care about the most with this movie. Like, yeah, I like Superman. I like some Superman comics. I like Superman entertainment. But when it comes to DC, like, I'm much bigger on Batman. I'm much bigger on Green Lantern. I'm much bigger on the Flash. Superman's cool. Like, so, and I think that I think there's a pretty big split in Superman fans right now. And not that they're divided, but there's two categories. There are the comic fans, and some of those comic fans, but we're going to put them on category. Some of those comic fans are probably like me, and Superman's not really their favorite character. I'm probably the most vocal about it, but whatever. And then there's a lot of comic fans that are like diehard Superman fans. Superman is their number one. They read every Superman book the way I am with Spider-Man. And then there are a lot of fans that they've read some comics. Maybe they haven't really read any, but they love Superman. And Superman to them is like Star Wars. It's an iconic movie brand, and they see it that way because of the Donner and Christopher Reeve movies. Because even, whatever they think of Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder era, Superman has heritage when it comes to cinema and blockbuster. And a lot of fans love Superman because they grew up watching Christopher Reeve with their father. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't think, and I don't look down on fans if they don't read comics or anything. I don't think you have to read comics to like these movies at all. I started reading comics after I loved these movies. Like, so and I think some people like to look down on people who don't. I think that's whack. You don't have to read comics. I think they're great. I think you should. You probably love them if you love the movies, but whatever. But I do think it's pretty cool that Superman is kind of like a Star Wars brand for a lot of people, where they just love it because it's nostalgic heritage. They have their memories of growing up watching it with their father. I think that's pretty cool, and I think that's pretty special. And a lot he's almost the only superhero who really has that, because if you look back when those Superman movies were coming out, no other superhero movies were coming out. Batman was a completely different character at the time. For those of you that don't know, Batman during the Silver Age, like when you think Adam West and you think the TV show of Adam West, the comics were a lot like that too. It wasn't until Frank Miller did The Dark Knight Returns in 1986, and you could think of that comic book as a BC AD, like before Christ type of thing. Like Batman was completely changed, and that's why Frank Miller is a walking god in the comic book industry. Batman is who he is today because of Frank Miller. So anyway, other characters don't really have that. And yeah, Superman has obviously had different eras and whatnot, but he's still pretty much been the same character. Like he did not have a turning point where something more in the modern age where completely changed for him. So I think it's pretty cool. I think for a lot of people, like I said, it's almost like a Star Wars brand. And then there are a lot of people who are diehard Superman and they love Superman so much. And it's obviously not been an easy time for those people because Superman hasn't, been in a movie theater in a really long time. So I think it's really exciting. I think it's really special. And, Superman also, I think, represents the American dream for everyone. He is an immigrant that came here and he assimilated and grew up under American parents with American values from a Kansas farm to the big city. So I think he embodies the American dream. And I hope that, people from both sides of the aisle could see him that way. Aside of some of the commentary, I think that Superman is like the embodiment of the American dream.
Yeah. This is one of the movies, bro, where like in a long time, honestly, since No Way Home. No Way Home is the last movie I watched, bro, where I didn't box office track. I just wanted a good movie that I wanted to enjoy. And for some reason, that's what Superman is giving me. Like today, bro, I was looking at the box. I was watching John Campion and Rob talk about it. I was watching Den and Nerds talk about it, and two different perspectives, by the way, on how this works, because whatever. But I found myself saying, dude, I don't care right now about the box office. I can think about that later. I just want a Superman that's a really good. I want a really good Superman movie. I want David Cornsweet to kill it. I want Rachel Brosnan, Lex Luthor, all these characters, Crypto. I want to be able to connect with every character in a way. And James Gunn's movies, bro, and Den of Nerds said this perfectly. He said, regardless of how you feel about James Gunn, he said, you have to admit his movies have given you feelings. Guardians has given me feelings. Suicide Squad, that movie gave me feelings, bro. And the one thing that James Gunn, and he's not saying this is purely me now talking. The one thing that James Gunn knows how to land is emotion in a file. And I think with Superman, it is the perfect guy to land. I mean, bro, he said, "What the hey, dude." That is such a Superman thing to say, bro. It is just like, yes, it's corny. Yes, it's kind of weird, but that's a farm boy from Kansas that don't really be out like that. He's in the big city. He's a little nerd. You know what I mean? And then he's a hero on the side. Like that's Clark Kent to me. You know what I mean? And I am so excited to see what James Gunn has, bro. And another thing too is like I going forward, man, and one thing I hated about Superman 2 is that James Gunn's name has been attached to everything. And I really want to give props to David Cornsweet. His interviews have been amazing. The stuff he said about Superman has been hitting it on the nail. I know you quoted one when he was on when he was on the red carpet, and he made a really good comment about Henry Cavill's Superman, and he was saying how Henry Cavill's darker Superman. He said it was needed,
Yeah,
which is
that's
a
not the one I quoted, but he did say that. Is that he
yeah,
did?
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I know you said the other one. I think it was about advice, but
I'll
I'll just
talk
say,
about that. I'll say what I want to say on that. Unless you could talk about it too, but I'll
nah,
mention what
but
I said.
for sure. But yeah, but like I really love how David, and this is the one thing that I love is when actors take roles like when actors take legacy roles like this, you have to be able to honor them no matter how bad it was. Like no matter how bad the last iteration was, you have to honor them in a way. And the fact that he even talked to Tyler Hoechlin, the TV show Superman, like it's and that's where, bro, you have that great point, Jerry, when you say that like this is like Star Wars. A baton is passed. Same with Batman, right? That thing is being passed throughout the generations of time. And I give props to Warner Bros. For landing a character that has that kind of effect. Now it's up to that effect now working in the Superman movie. So yeah, man, I mean, I am like on the moon about
Yeah,
seeing this, bro. I really am.
yeah. I think that David Cornsweet made a point, and he said, he was like, he basically said, I spoke to Henry Cavill and Tyler Hoechlin. Tyler Hoechlin was in Superman and Lois, which, by the way, great show. And you know what else I loved? I loved Peter Tomasi's Superman run. If you haven't read it, it's more of a Superman and Lois was inspired a lot by that run because it's Superman as a father on the farm, as a family, and Superman sometimes is a little corny, but like he owns it. And you get to see that in him when he is a father because like Superman is a super cool. And I know some people say, oh, Superman's not supposed to, bro. He's like the archetype of a superhero. What do you mean he's not supposed to be cool? It's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, but Superman, you know, like we all look at him as a superhero, but someone looks at him as a father. And like there are dad jokes, there are dad shoes. So you do take on that dad persona in some way. And it's pretty cool to see that in Superman. But to the comment that David Cornsweet made that I loved so much, he said that he was like, I spoke to Henry Cavill and Tyler Hoechlin, both wrote me, or I spoke to them. And in their own way, they basically said they didn't really give advice because Superman's not about giving advice and dictating to others how they should be. And I loved that so much. And the reason I loved it so much is because, first of all, my whole life, I've always noticed that a lot of the people that have tried to give me advice are the people who have no place giving advice. Like when I started doing this podcast with Stevie, I had a friend who never did a podcast who was trying to tell me everything that I should do. Like with work and some of my success in that. I've had people who have never been in my shoes, know nothing about what I do, try to tell me what I should do. When I've been, the best sales rep in a company, you get the point. So I always look at who gives advice because usually the best people to give advice won't give it to you unsolicited. On the flip side of that, I've also seen a lot of virtue signaling around Superman over the past couple of weeks on social media. And everyone's like, oh, well, if you don't agree with my politics, you don't get Superman. You don't have media literacy. Well, the guy who's playing Superman just said you shouldn't be giving other people advice and dictating how they should be. So maybe listen to your hero, bro. So I just can't stand it. And I don't like what James Gunn said. I don't think he had to say that. I think it was stupid. I think he's done a great PR job up until this point. And I think that was a blunder. I think that was a misstep. I think there's a lot of people that see it the way he sees it, so they think it's okay. But there's a lot of people who don't, and they're not liking it, and it's all over the media. And it's just like, you have this big of a project. It's that important. You need it to. It's the launch point for your new DC studios. Like, bro, so whatever you could say, how he said it or what he said or how they took the quote. He's James Gunn. He's done these press tours before. He knows how those quotes go and how they get taken into headlines. He's experienced enough to know this. So I 100% think it was intentional. I think he couldn't resist doing so. And it's just like, how hard is it to say, we made the Superman for everyone, and I hope everyone enjoys it, like Tom Cruise would have done. So that's what I'll say on that. Listen, I still love James Gunn. I'm still a huge fan of him. I'm still excited for this movie. I'm still going to see it. But, unlike a lot of other channels, one thing we don't do on this channel is just glaze 24/7. When we have criticisms for the people or the things we're fans of, we are going to tell you, because we always keep it 100. So watch out for the people you listen to who never criticize something and only just glaze it all day long, because that can't be integrity.
Yeah. And you're right, bro. That comment was stupid. Yeah. No reason to say that. And I do want to talk about the glazing in the content space, because there's like two sides of this, and I really think it stemmed from the fact that we almost got the DC EU. Like, we were so close to getting this expanded universe. And look, we got to be real. Affleck looked freaking cool. Cavill looked cool. Gal Gadot looked cool. The Flash, people can say what you want. The suit and his suit was cool. I don't care what no one says. All the cyborg look cool. What were you saying, bro?
The Flash's suit in the Snyder Cut is one of my all-time favorite live-action suits. That thing is so cool.
It's gas. It's fire, bro.
It's so sick.
It's dope. It's cool. But the reality is that we lost that, and I think a lot of fans have now jumped on the bandwagon where it's like they either love what he's doing and cape for everything with no type of just criticism whatsoever. And if they do criticize, it's like the softest version of criticism possible. And then it's the other side where they just hate him. Like, everything he says, if James Gunn wore red, they would say that he's a blood or something. Like, they will find some way to make it seem like James Gunn, is wrong and did this and that. And the one thing that, Jerry and I were texting her, and I told him, I said, I'm glad that we didn't take either side and that we kind of stuck our plants where we always do. Like, we didn't glaze and we didn't hate.
Oh, yeah.
We always, like, we always plant where we may, and that's just how we roll. You know what I'm saying? Because look, I'm going to be honest. Coming out the gate, I thought the marketing was terrible. I'm not even going to hold you. The one image where Corn Sweat is sitting in the chair and his suit is dirty, I thought those were really bad shots. and we both had said that. You know what I mean? But I will say, they turned the corner pretty quick. And by the way, I mean, Superman is everywhere. He's in all the stores, all the movies, all the commercials. I mean, bro, everyone in the world has seen Superman at this point. There is no way that you haven't caught him in something, bro. The marketing is insane. It is actually crazy, bro.
My dad said he wants to see Superman. And I even asked him yesterday, I was like, do you really want to see Superman, or was that like a mistake that you said that? He was like, no, I want to see it. I was shocked. And if you've been watching the show, I've said before, my dad doesn't care for superhero movies. He thinks the whole thing is lame. He's more like James Bond military kind of stuff. And and mafia. But what I will say about the Superman marketing is, outside of some of my criticisms and by the way, Jalen, I respect you for saying that, even though I disagree with you, like, I respect the opinion. So thank you. I know you've been coming around a lot. But anyway, so here's the deal. I'm starting to get worried about Fantastic Four, because the thing is that movie's coming out in 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. No, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm seeing it 2 weeks from Thursday. And Superman is releasing this week, and everything is about Superman. I mean, no one's really even talking about Fantastic Four. And Superman is going to have to ramp up its marketing like now, which I feel like they're not really going to go hard this week because they might see it as a waste to deploy that capital into the marketing this week when it's just going to get washed out by Superman. And then you have 1 week left next week. And there's been a lot of criticism about Fantastic Four's marketing, which is interesting because I, for the longest time, never really saw it that way. And I have some criticisms with some of the things they've done. Like, I every other day, I'm like, I don't really know how great Pedro is going to be as Reed. I still don't like the Shalabal decision. I think it's stupid. I think we all know why they picked Shalabal. Like, you know, and I'm sure they're going to have some creative reason in the movie, but no one's going to buy that they picked Shalabal for that creative reason. And that is why when I did my TikTok on it, everyone on, I shouldn't say everyone because a lot of people did like it, but a lot of people couldn't resist defending it. And they're only defending it because they also know the reason that this decision was made. But I just think, what are they going to do? Like, go full throttle start of Monday next week all the way to the release? That's what they're going to have to do. And they're going to have to hope.
But you know what he did, right? Shug Feige.
And they're going to have to hope the Superman chatter and hype washes down a little bit after the first weekend, which it might, because all the people who are freaking out over Superman will have seen it by Sunday.
Mm-hmm. So, but you know what Feige did, bro? So they showed a half hour of it, and the embargo on the half hour lifts tomorrow when the freaking Superman screening starts.
Yes. I forgot.
Petty, bro. Petty, bro. He's petty, bro. I love it. I love
competitive.
It.
He's competitive.
Yeah, competitive. Yeah.
No, yeah. I respect that. Like,
yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, bro. And I always say this to you: we're playing for keeps, bro. Like, this isn't a game of checkers with your little niece that you're playing for fun. You know what I mean? We're playing for keeps here. So is Marvel. So is DC, and I respect that. Like, and James Gunn and Kevin Feige are friends, but like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were friends. Have you ever seen what it looked like when they played each other? You know what I mean? So
each other, bro.
Yeah, bro. They were like,
"You'll never fill my shoes" type stuff. And Kobe mad. Yeah. But yeah, bro, like, and then I saw someone comment on the half hour, and they were like, "It's insane." So I can't wait to see what what
Fantastic Four is insane.
Yeah, they said the first half hour is insane. So yeah, bro, like they said, like, you need to see this, because I think the Den of Nerds might have somebody. It was either Redacted or Den of Nerds or some Marvel guy. They retweeted the tweet and I read it, but like I heard it's insane. And the other thing too is like, and I'm not trying to glaze Fantastic Four. The cinematography is so sharp, like the way the Human Torch looks in full fire, bro. And I zoom in and the quality doesn't go down. It's like, dog, they went crazy. They went crazy. So they are moving like this is their last leg, bro. They are. Yeah. So, but no, I mean, look. So for Superman, dude, look, I'm just expecting this to be a really good movie and a really good start to the DCU. Did I want Batman or something like that? Yes, obviously. But look, this is this could be a good start, and we'll just see what happens. So tomorrow is the proving ground for Batman.
You gotta call me when you walk out.
Oh, dude, of course, yeah, 100%. Now we are definitely gonna talk, bro. So yeah, man, we are going to see what happens. And I got, I think 3 of my friends are going. So yeah, my boy Carter and So 3 of us are going. So we'll see what happens. And my one friend hates he thinks it's trash. So I really want to hear his opinion. Like, I wonder
Right.
if his opinion is because he likes Fantastic Four's look way more than Superman. He hates Crypto.
That's
I
weird.
know,
I don't
I
have
know.
anyone that hate a dog. I love dogs.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
I love dogs and people are like, "Oh, meet my dog." I don't care about your dog, bro, okay?
Exactly.
Like
Right.
uh
Yeah.
by the way, so back to the Silver Age thing. What you guys need to understand about the Silver Age is that Silver Age is not going like some of you might see this movie and love it, and it's obviously takes a lot of inspiration. I think it's going to take a lot of inspiration from the story of All Star Superman, but the vibe and the feeling of the movie is going to be Silver Age. And what you need to understand about Silver Age is that Silver Age was 1956 to 1970. Do you know what happened in 1961? Marvel put out Fantastic Four and changed everything. It was the hottest thing in the game in the 60s. Basically the entire Marvel universe was born out of the Fantastic Four. But when you talk about Silver Age for the DCU, you cannot talk about Batman because Batman was a completely different character. You know, DC did a lot of things differently back in the day. I mean, look at Jay Garrick's silly helmet. You know, I argued with people about that on X recently, but like, you know, a lot of things were very different. Superman is like a very unique case where Silver Age works better for him than most characters. And I know there are a lot of people online who, you know, love to give stuff extra credit or extra respect because it came from an older time. But if you tell me that you think Jake Garrick looks good with a plate on his head, or Green Arrow looks good as looks good as Robin Hood with tights and a feather in his hat, I am never going to take you seriously again. Okay.
I was waiting for the Jay Garrick slander, bro. I was waiting
Yeah,
for it.
bro. It's ridiculous.
The second you started it, I'm like, oh, here comes the
Yeah.
Jay Garrick. No,
Yeah.
I was waiting for it, bro.
And you know what? And while you're at it, why don't you try taking Adam West's Batman suit and putting that in a live action movie and making that the main suit of our DCU Batman? Tell me how you think that's going to work out.
Do you know the dumbest comment I've seen today? At least today. So I made a whole TikTok about Grant Gustin not being the DC Flash, which is our next topic here.
People
And
are like offended
literally,
when you tell them.
bro, and literally the guy was like, but he could play Jay Garrick in the DCU. I'm like, bro, just shut up. Let's just stop talking. Oh my gosh, bro.
You know, what people who say these kinds of things don't understand about CW shows is that as great as the Arrow was and as good as Flash got at its peak, is that these were low budget, cheap shows. Most of these actors are very untalented that worked for a cheap, low budget CW TV show. Okay. There's a reason it was the CW. Grant Gustin wouldn't even cut it for an HBO show for the Flash. So when people say Grant Gustin should be the DCU Flash, it's like insane. And people get really emotional about it for whatever reason. I'm not saying he wasn't great in the CW, but you have to understand that he was I don't want to say a big fish in a small pond, but he was a regular fish in a small pond. Okay. And Hollywood is the big pond. And this guy is not talented enough to play a main character in the DCU. You want to give him a little cameo and, you know, get butterflies in your stomach over it, fine. But this guy is not talented enough to be the Flash.
Thank you, bro. So Grant was asked about returning, and obviously he's going to say yes because this would be a different bag of money that he's never seen in his life. I mean, come on, like I would say yes, and dude, it will be a race swap, but the money, like, come on, bro, like I would be Barry Allen if they asked me.
Also, it would be big for his name because you know what? He's never been in a blockbuster movie. You know why? He doesn't belong in blockbuster movies.
He wasn't even in Ezra's Flash when they were basically honoring the past. That's really all you need to know. But he had Ezra in his show, though.
Yeah. I know he was upset about it, and like, but they weren't trying to give him a cameo to make him feel good. they were making a movie, okay? And you could argue that they gave everyone else a cameo and like it may have looked like a slight, but maybe they just thought he didn't have the kind of legacy. Like you're talking about giving cameos to Christopher Reeve. Like Grant Gustin is not, he doesn't have the legacy of Christopher Reeve. And I'm not even going to argue about the CGI and all that. We're just making a point here. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And also, guys, from a practical standpoint, right, of why Grant will probably never be the mainline DCU Flash, right? Number one, okay, from a practical standpoint, right, there he got 9 seasons as Barry Allen, okay. It would feel rehashed to me if you were to put him in the movie as a Flash, where they've done practically uh so much with him already. Second thing, James Gunn's whole initiative, aside from the smaller characters like Amanda Waller, John Cena's piece, whatever, like obviously like those are smaller characters, so those castings don't really matter in the bigger picture. Why would he recast anyone? I mean, he's gotten if he was to recast anyone, he would recast Henry Cavill because that's the actor he's gotten the most help for. You know what I'm saying? So if he's not going to do that, what makes you think he would cast Grant? His whole initiative is to bring a new, fresh look to the DCU, which means that this is going to be that if he does choose to do Barry Allen, it's not going to be anyone that you can even think of right now. It's not going to be Lucas Till. It's not going to be any of these guys. He's going to choose someone to be Barry Allen, and Grant isn't even on the list, bro.
If it's going to be a fresh, new thing, it can't feel fresh and new if we're looking at old faces.
% bro, 100%. And then also, like, you also got to understand how TVs work. There's melodrama. There's small little stupid love plots. And
it was a soap opera with superheroes, okay?
Yeah,
like
bro, that's how TV works. And also, like, people don't want to talk about how the Flash became like a Power Rangers episode. It did. How he will always lose to the bad guy, unveil a new power that he can do with his super speed. Him and Iris get in an argument. They make up. They beat the bad guy, and the episode's over. That's how it was for like 3 to 4 seasons. So
it was procedural. It was like there was a formula to it. They did the same thing, and a lot of episodes had a villain of the week vibe. And that's not what a movie is. And this guy he's just not. If you think if you think Grant Gustin is talented enough, you are the reason why I hate Fancast.
Yeah, I mean, and look, right. I mean, and if we're being honest, out of anyone from CW right now, I would have said Tyler Hoechlin over Grant at this point.
Yeah. Tyler Hoechlin actually is talented, and I could see him being in some. I listen, I'm not saying he's talented enough to be Superman in a movie, but he's talented enough to have a supporting role in a blockbuster movie. That 100%. Him or
the Arrow guy, Stephen Amell. Those are probably the most.
I don't know if I feel the same about Stephen Amell. I think Stephen Amell is more of. And maybe I need to see him as something else, but I just don't see him as someone who has the kind of range. Like, I think he's someone that needs to play with the same kind of guy. And also, they did a Suits LA version of the Suits show, which I loved. Suits was great. But they did a Suits. I didn't watch it, but I heard it sucked, and people did not speak kindly about Stephen Amell in that show. And they canceled it. It did so bad that they canceled it before they finished airing the first season. Okay. I'm like, yeah, bro. Yeah, you know how bad it's got to be to do that? Because you're going to have, like, you have to understand, if they cancel the show before the finale airs, you're telling people who are watching the show, we don't even care if you watch the next episode.
100%, bro. Yeah. So, like, and so, yeah, I mean, look, we got to be more wise with these takes. And, like, we are just not going to keep throwing people like Grant Gustin Bale thinking that he has a chance of being in the DCU. There's no chance at all.
And we are not going to pretend otherwise because you're emotional about it. Like,
100%, bro. I mean, look, I think that Grant showcased the heart of the Flash very well. in the show, but there's more to the Flash than just his heart. There's more to the Flash than just the emotional side. And as I said, I do think they touched on that because that's how TV shows work. They're very emotional. There's a lot of drama. But yeah, man, I do believe they're going a whole different route. And Ezra Miller's Flash movie should be all you need to know. Look, a lot of people hate it, but if you want to see how the Flash would look in the movie, prime example is right there. And yeah, so but
for for the next topic, we're going to talk about, we're going to do a little bit of an edit because we want to talk a bit about the Fantastic Four First Steps tie-in comic, but it's not out yet. So we're going to put Paul Walter Hauser confirmed as Mole Man, and this was an on-the-spot edit, so I apologize in advance. But Paul Walter Hauser, Mole Man. I want to pull the image because you have to understand a lot of these comics get shipped, and when they get shipped, people get to read them early, even though they're probably not supposed to, whatever. So this leaked, and we're going to show the image, and that's how we finally have it confirmed. But, Paul Walter Hauser is a great actor. So I just sent you the photo, Stevie.
you got it.
I love this guy. He was in Kingdom, and he was incredible. This is a super talented actor on his way up. He is amazing. And Mole Man is an amazing Fantastic Four character. He is a villain. He is like the king of Subterranea, which is like an underground universe. And he is the leader of his Moloids. And yeah, so he's a great villain. And I'm really excited because he is probably not, I don't know if I would say my favorite, but I like him more than I like Pedro Pascal. I'll tell you that. And so I'm really excited about this.
I mean, bro, Hauser is Mole Man is a W casting, bro, and I think a lot of fans are. I think he's going to be a fan favorite, bro. I do.
Yeah,
I think fans are really going to latch on to him after they see this, bro. Like, and the fact that he's in the comics, bro, and I'm happy that they didn't tell us what his role is from the start. And it's the same with the other actor, Paul Malkovich or whatever his name is. We still don't know who the heck he's playing, and he's still listed to be in the file. Like he's still in it.
There are rumors that he was cut.
No, but like in the last cast list or whatever, his name is still in it.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
They're hiding the role for some reason. But
right.
I love stuff like that. So
yeah,
I wonder
maybe they intentionally didn't keep him in the tie-in comic.
Yeah,
the tie-in comic is supposed to be a prequel. It releases next week. But yeah, Paul Walter Hauser was in a show that I watched called Kingdom. And Kingdom, Frank Grillo had 3 sons, and he owned an MMA gym, and the 3 sons are fighters. One of the kids was played by one of the Jonas Brothers. I don't know which one it was because I'm not a Jonas Brothers guy, and I think it was Nick. Anyway, the show was amazing, and one of the brothers or his friends, I forget, has to go to a halfway house, and in the halfway house, Paul Walter Hauser played the roommate, and he was incredible. I mean, the range on this guy was like, this guy's great. You're going to love him. He's got a great personality. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, bro. Nah, this is going to be also exciting to see in live action. There's another shot. I'll probably have to find it, but there's a shot of him in his Mole Man costume, too, which I thought looked pretty awesome as well. And, yeah, I mean...
Oh, the tie-in comic, by the way, that actually drops this Wednesday. I made a mistake. So it drops this Wednesday. Fantastic Four First Steps. You could buy it digitally, and then you could just get it to your phone or iPad or whatever. Or you can go into your local comic book shop. But yeah, it also releases alongside the new Fantastic Four #1 from Ryan North, who was writing Fantastic Four. They just did Fantastic Four 33. I think that was like 2 weeks ago. And that run was really cool, but it was very episodic, meaning each story didn't really roll into the next. It was kind of resolved in each issue. This run, they said they rebooted it to Fantastic Four #1 because they think that buyers of comics are less likely to buy a comic, especially new readers, when it says issue number 33 versus issue #1. And they want people who might be getting into comics from the movie to be able to walk into the store and buy a new Fantastic Four #1. But the story also is about something called the Forever Stone. And basically, Reed and the Fantastic Four are looking for you got Grant Gustin. So they're looking for the Forever Stone in the new reboot. And that makes me think that it's not going to be episodic. And Ryan North is incredible. He's the same guy writing One World Under Doom, which has been amazing. And he also did like a limited series Secret Invasion a couple years ago that no one really talks about anymore for whatever reason. But I love that too. So I think this is going to be really good. And yeah, I forget who's writing the Fantastic Four First Steps tie. I don't want to see that. I think it's Matt Fraction.
I think it is. Let me check. Right here.
Yep, Matt Fraction.
Matt. Bet.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I would love to see tie-in comics to the movies become bigger. I think Superman did something too.
I know they had like a bunch of
variant
covers, with him on it, but I'm not sure if it was a tie-in.
Yeah, I don't think they did a real tie-in. I think that's just where they did the variant covers, which it's cool if you're into collecting or whatever. But the tie-in is, like you want to immerse yourself more into the world, you get a tie-in. It's cool.
Yeah. The thing that I'm struggling with now is like when the writer doesn't change, but the artist does. Because I get so used to a certain style of art, and when it switches, sometimes it just like phases me out, bro. Like,
sometimes it's really annoying. Like, a lot of people feel that John Romita Jr. gets a lot of jobs because of his father, and I think to some degree he admits that. But like, I really like John Romita Jr. He was the one who did the earlier parts of the JMS Spider-Man run.
Okay.
His art is very fitting for Spider-Man, but he did, I'm pretty sure, the entire last run of Zeb Wells, which was like 70 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. So they put out this new Spider-Man run, and it's been amazing. The 7th issue just released last week, and I don't know if it was last issue or 2 issues ago. They switched from Pepe Larraz, whose art is so cool, it's so modern and sharp and edgy, back to Romita. And I'm like, why? Like, we just had 70-something issues of Romita Jr. straight. Like, we've gotten so much Romita Spider-Man. This guy Pepe Larraz is new and everyone loves him. Like, why are you changing it? That pissed me off.
Yeah, it's weird, bro. It's weird.
Yeah. It happens a lot, but sometimes it's more annoying than others.
Facts. But yeah, man, we are hyped for this, man. We can't wait. So let's get it. Okay. So I'll take that tie-in off it. Okay, bet. So now let's get to some Mr. James Gunn stuff. So, James Gunn, he ended up saying that he has 2 Batman scripts that he will be reading soon. One is obviously The Batman. Second one seems like he's going to be Brave the Bold. That's the only other Batman project that we know that is in the works. So, and obviously last week we talked about the fact that Matt Reeves' Batman comic got turned in. So, bro, sorry for a second. So the question that I want to ask you, bro, is that like, do you think James Gunn should be in a rush with Brave and the Bold, or is this a thing where like you're fine with him taking his time because the Batman is like kind of like the primary focus right now.
No, he's got to move on to Brave and the Bold, because you can't have Superman come out and the only movie follow up set in sight in our sights is Supergirl. Okay, because Supergirl is not going to cut it. Okay, like let's just call a spade a spade. You need someone like Batman. Batman is the guy, and maybe you wouldn't have to rush Batman as much if you had something like Green Lantern or the Flash coming out. But Supergirl, especially right after Superman, like more of the same. You need something different. I think that it's a little bit of a dilemma, because they're not going to want to release the Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold in the same fiscal year. But people are annoyed at all the delays of the Batman, and now you're going to have to put out Batman the Brave and the Bold, and they get it. Like that movie, I don't think. I feel like it's got to come out by 2027. I think what's going to happen is that the Batman will probably come out in 2027 and Brave and the Bold will probably be 2028. But I think the right move would be to put Brave and the Bold out in 2027 and push the Batman to 2028. And here's another thing that a lot of people aren't going to like to hear about the Batman, but it's a harsh truth, is that the script was just turned in. That doesn't mean it's the final draft. Like James Gunn could read the script and say, I like this and this, but I don't like this. Change it. And there could be a couple more rounds of that. And we know Matt Reeves works very slow. So, like, the more rounds that takes, the longer it's going to take. Maybe James Gunn isn't that worried about it because he knows the Batman is going to be delayed again. I don't know. I just don't think that. I think it's very unlikely that James Gunn reads that script and is like, it's perfect. I have no notes. He's a creative guy. So creative guys see things and they're going to want to improve. Like it's going to go back and forth a bit. I'm telling you right now, that's not the final draft. Like everyone was celebrating when they submitted the script as if, oh, that's great. They're going to get to work and start filming. Like, no, not right away.
Yeah, they just asked him on the carpet of Superman. They said, has he read the Batman 2 script? And he said it's great. So he's read it. So I guess they're just to show you. You're probably right. They're working on something. So
he's not going to say on the red carpet, I read it, but I have some notes. I need to do that, and then I'm going to send it back to Matt. Like, of course he's going to say, yeah, it's great.
Trying to sell the movie.
yeah. All right. Did you get my text, by the way?
Yeah. I texted you back. All right,
okay.
All right, let's read some chats, y'all. Sup, guys? What's up, Hungry? I'm seeing it on Sunday with my friend. Let's go, bro. How many of your friends are going, bro? How many of y'all going? What's up? Bought my Superman tickets for the 13th on IMAX. First ever IMAX movie. What? Let's go, bro. Praying is good. Hopefully this will be the one that, your first enjoyment of IMAX. Green Lantern Rebirth is fire. Geoff Johns' run on Green Lantern made Hal Jordan in my top 5 favorite. Yeah, bro. The Rebirth is hard, bro. It's fire. Yeah. And then so the part that caught me was when Batman started just talking crap about Hal, and then Jon Stewart just crashes out on the Batman. He's like, yo, watch who you talking to, bro. I'm like, hey, John, you a little savage. Right. Imagine the timeline that kept Cavill as Superman, bro. I wouldn't be shocked if that's something that happens in the future. Somewhere would not be shocked. Similar to what they did with Brandon Ruth when he was like the Kingdom Come Superman. By the way, that suit's fire. I'm a simple man. My expectations are simple. Kind-hearted Superman that stays true to the character, great action, great story. That's that's facts. The soundtrack got leaked, and soundtrack 6 is a mashup of the Batman song and a Superman tone warped in it. Are you talking about the Soup? So I saw that Soups posted a song from the Superman movie. Is that what you're referring to? Everyone's going nuts right now. In a bad way or a good way, bro? And pause. You don't have to read comics to understand these characters. I know the definitive versions of these characters way before reading. Very true. So far, it's 11 different. It's 11 different soundtracks. Wow. There's two sides to it. I don't look down on people that don't read and never have and never will. But at the same time, if you don't read and you go online acting like a smart A, then that's when it's an issue. Exactly, and that's what makes my co-host over here crash out. Is when people do that because people act like they know everything, but they don't.
Bro, I'm trying. I don't want to like because I don't want to name drop this specific person, but I
What's up?
saw someone the other day. I kid you not, and they were like, they wrote that they grew up on comics and
Okay.
Marvel and DC raised them, and then they said something else that was like a basic fact about one of the brands, and it was completely wrong. And I'm just like, bro, if you grew up on comics, like you would know this. And it was like, I mean, it would be like not knowing Alfred's name. It was something so simple. And I was
Yeah.
just like, you people are so, and I see it all the time. There are always tells. And that's what I always say. There are always tells. And that's the thing. You can't fake it because these comics come out all the time.
Yeah.
They never stop. They've been coming out for decades. So there are all these little details. And like a lot of them are pretty basic. Like you don't need to read a lot of comics to know them. And when you don't and you get it wrong, you expose yourself, which is why anyone who lies and says that they read comics and they don't, they will expose themselves in a
Mm-hmm.
short amount of time. Not
Exactly.
long, it will happen and it will happen quickly.
And step one is when you say you've been raped. Anyone that to tell you that they're a comic head, that's a part of the issue.
Right,
Like
right.
anyone that like it's like look right. The greatest advice that my dad ever gave me was you don't have to tell people that you're a man. Your actions should show it. Right. You don't see Jerry going on X saying, "I've been reading comics every day for my whole life." You're wrong. No, he just spits the facts. Like
Exactly.
people are weird, bro. People are weird. Feel like Den Nerds is a huge hate boner for this movie. Yeah, bro. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think he's hilarious. I think he's so funny because obviously James Gunn like cooked him on the internet. So like a part of it is like and he even admitted that a part of his like his outlook is biased. Which I shot him out to because a lot of people are biased and don't say it. But I do think that he has a very interesting perspective because he understands that James Gunn Superman needs to be good for this thing to go on, but he also doesn't like him as a person. So I think it's a very interesting perspective, but I also think that he tells a lot of realness that a lot of James Gunn lovers don't, and I gotta respect that. I gotta respect that. Even if the movie is bad, I feel like Corn Sweat is going to win over fans. He already is, bro. Like he already is. I've already seen the freaking TikToks of him and Rachel Brosnan with the Mariah Carey music playing in the background.
Someone was saying, so they're talking about rebooting the Indiana Jones franchise. I think it's a great idea. But on John Campia's show, someone submitted a question and they said that they think it should be David Cornsweet. I thought Campia's answer was great. He was like, listen, maybe so, but I'm not ready to give him that until I see Superman.
Yeah, the rumor I heard for Indiana Jones, they said Chris Evans and I forget the other guy.
Yeah, I heard someone say Chris Evans too.
Chris Evans and somebody else. I think Chris Evans would kill it. I just don't
I
see
think
him.
Chris Evans would be great.
He would. He would. He would. I would have to see him in the outfit, but
Yeah.
he's an underrated actor, bro. He doesn't, and maybe he just doesn't take jobs out of like choice because he's so rich. But he's a really
By
good
the
actor.
way, if you have an issue with Disney rebooting Indiana Jones, like you are unintelligent. That is stupid.
100%. Another just monsoon of money that needs to be made. Come on, guys. Superherocuts. I saw on Twitter that James Gunn's Superman budget is 200 million, and to break even is 500. Hey, man.
I am pretty sure it's much bigger than 200 million. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I have it. I'm gonna look for it, but there was like a tax document that they submitted, and the budget was like I think it was like 363 million or something.
Yeah. I
Uh,
remember you talked about it not too long ago on the pod.
yeah,
Yeah. What's up, Jalen? What's up, homie? I do feel like if worse comes to worse, and this is foul as bad, they need a fast track Brave and the Bold, and someone else does
I
Superman.
do have it. My memory is so good because it is 363
You're
mil.
right. Oh
Yeah,
my god, you son of a gun!
that's crazy.
How'd you know that, bro?
Yeah.
How'd you know that? That's funny.
Saw that document one time.
That's like earlier when you were freaking you were beating my remember we were talking about Silver Age, and I'm like chat GPT, and literally what I'm about to type you're saying, I'm like, dude, slow down. Did you see Matt and Andy at the premiere? No, but I'm gonna watch it after this. I heard that Soups hosted it, so I want to see how he does.
Who's Andy?
Matt Reeves and Andy Muschietti.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to watch it. I want to see how Soups does, bro. Shout out to them for getting a content creator to do it. I want to see how he does. It's so ironic that there's so much hate for this movie, and yet Superman rises above the hate. Hey, man, he hasn't yet. We got to see how it is.
Yeah.
Fair criticism on the James Gunn comment, but I'm proud of James saying his piece. But it is what it is.
I commented on that one.
That's fair. If there, by the way, there are Disney came out when we were when we were talking earlier. There are 2 post-credit scenes for Superman. 2.
I hope that one of them isn't a joke and then the other one is legit. Like that's what I feel like Marvel does a lot. They'll give us like Red Guardian and the Wheaties, and then they'll give us the New Avengers with a Z and the Fantastic Four ship.
Yep. Like I don't want no post credit of like Crypto doing something stupid. Like that was
yeah. I want real post credit. You know what? I really hope we get a post credit of Batman and there's a Batman cast. Bro,
summer's over.
Batman, if there's that, I feel like we would have heard about it by now, but maybe tonight because of the embargo. If there's a Batman cameo in there, spoil it for me. I want to know. I want to know now. That is going to be sick.
Bro said, "Tell me ASAP."
Think about it though. Think about they have Batman in this movie with a cameo and the casting. Like, think about what that will do for the box office.
Even a Batman. Oh my gosh!
If they didn't do it, it was an L not to.
Yeah. Dude, even if it's a bad signal, people would lose their minds. Anything with Batman, people go crazy. But if they show the Batman suit off the rip, dude,
bro, if they did the Batman actor, the casting, and they tie it to this movie, bro.
And Comic-Con is this month. Oh my gosh, that'd be nuts.
Yeah.
That'd be nuts. Yeah, I'm still Mr. Fantastico. I'm crying.
Yeah, bro.
Bro, the freaking Spanish names with Pedro, bro, has been. You guys have not failed yet.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you. Everyone kept telling me that Fantastic Four will have better marketing or had the better marketing for the longest time, and I will push back on that. But nope, it was Superman getting washed by Fantastic Four. I mean, I think that Superman has more volume.
Wait, I'm confused of what you said, Jalen, because you said everyone kept telling me that F4 will have the better marketing or had the better marketing.
That sounds like BS now.
Go back to that one.
I think you're saying that.
I think you have one of them reversed because you said everyone kept telling me this, but it's this. Like,
yeah.
You're saying that Fantastic Four will have better marketing, but nope, it was Superman getting washed by Fantastic Four. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm confused. I'm confused. I don't think you wrote what you meant to write.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. I think the Fantastic Four has better quality content, but Superman's marketing, if we're talking about as a whole, it's cooked. It's done amazing. I don't care what nobody says. The toys, everything, they cooked. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe this movie makes people want to see Superman. Facts. Funny thing is, one of my friends who's watching it with me Sunday is not the biggest fan of Superman, so it's definitely going to be interesting to hear his opinion. Bro, same thing, bro. Can't wait to hear it. Crypto being in this makes me hope they add Ace to the Bat Hound. That would be nuts. I'm gonna be honest. I like the tin hat on Jay Garrett too.
Both of them? Come on.
Bro,
dude, if they bring Arrow to the DCU and they give him that hat, I'm going to lose my shit.
There's no way. Actually, I'm not going to say there is no way because nowadays you just never know, bro.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm not going to make any more promises. A different character, though. Yeah. A different character though. Maybe I don't know. Booster, dye his hair. What?
Do you mean Booster Gold?
Yeah. Are you talking about Grant being Booster Gold, or are you talking about Stephen Amell?
He's talking about. Oh,
Gustin is a pretty good musical actor, and he did fine in his first 2 seasons. He is. Those are both true.
but a
But he definitely
musical
not being a movie.
actor is a very big difference between being a blockbuster superhero in a movie of the summer.
Exactly. And all of his shine has been in TV shows.
By the way, I saw a clip from Wicked on social media the other day,
Yo,
and I've never seen anything from the movie.
mm-hmm.
I can't believe people lost their minds over it. It looked horrible. It
What
looked
was
so bad. Bro, they were like all singing and dancing, and the set looked like it was a Broadway musical. It didn't look like a real movie. It looked like they filmed a Broadway show and were like, "Oh, let's release it in theaters." Like, I'd expect Wicked the movie to feel like a movie and not
really?
Broadway
I'm
show.
not gonna lie, bro. The cinematography on there is fire. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. Like the sets all have similar themes, yes, but the freaking places that they had in them, bro, was gorgeous. I mean, the movie is gorgeous.
Cinematography.
But you might be talking about the beginning of the movie when everyone's singing in the city that the witch just died. Was it that part?
I think so. Yeah, and it looked like
That does look
the
weird.
floor was like a swirl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that was on purpose.
Okay.
That's at least how and that's at least how it seems. But like the movie itself, dude, like I'm not gonna hold you, and I can't stand in Revo. She annoys me, but they cooked on that. Yeah,
Bro, if I ever see her get fan cast again, I am gonna come up with another Sophie Rain. And I will say Sophie Rain is my fan cast for Storm.
Well, dude, well now we have Grok, so we need to make some
Oh yes.
because that that Nate Romanoff dude,
Bro,
that it gets me every time, bro. It makes me laugh every time.
bro, people lost their minds. Let me see how many views that got like 50,000 views on Threads.
That was one of the funniest.
And
that was one of the funniest tweets ever.
I just didn't even want to deal with it because I was going into an important meeting and I didn't want to be thinking about it. So I turned my Threads on private. And then when I turned it back on, it got like 10,000 views in like 3 minutes. It was insane.
That's funny. Yeah, I've been saying this for so long. Unless Gunn has a Flash or Green Lantern movie planned for 2027, you will kill the hype for the DCU. Because no one is going to care about Swamp Thing Clayface. Very true. Assuming if Brave and the Bold script and pre-production is done by this year, is it possible that Brave and the Bold could release April 2027, then slightly delayed? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, as I said before, I really can't have an answer until after Superman and how it performs. I think if it performs bad, they're going to scramble and do it. That's what I think.
You think they're going to scramble and do Brave and the Bold sooner if Superman does bad?
100%.
Yeah,
that's what I believe. If I would have scratched Supergirl anyway if that was the case. I would have done Brave and the Bold second.
Yeah, but, I still think Supergirl after Superman is such a bad choice. It's such a bad choice for a number of reasons, but the main reason is you need to come out of the gate with another big character that people love and will love. And I'm not saying Supergirl isn't cool and there isn't a place for her, but we just are watching Superman. Why would you do that's like doing Hal Jordan and then Jon Stewart? Why would you do two Kryptonian super movies in a row? It's stupid to me.
Yep, I agree. Jurassic World Rebirth going to take away some Superman box office. I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that.
Yeah, they did it 300 mil opening weekend. I don't think people are going back that much of this month or of this week. To answer your question, I'm going with 7. Dang, 7 is fire.
Yeah.
What percentage do you think Pattinson will appear? Right now, 0.0.
Zero.
Now, I could see Pattinson ending up in the DCU as a scramble move. And like there's no other option left, and Zaslav is just taking over. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to find a DCU Batman.
Yeah. Post credit pitch. The scene is Clark in a diner talking to a guy in a suit, telling him the events of the movie, and he asks how his week is, and he says, "I met my son." Cut to black. Oh, that'd be crazy. And he's talking about
Smiley Brown, bro. That is one of my favorite comments we've ever gotten. That is a genius idea.
You might have just cooked.
Yeah. Wait, go back to that because I want to get.
Yeah.
I want to get a screenshot of this. Hold on.
Yo, bro. Here, I'll just take a picture. And dude, we should AI this and like make an image of it. Oh, hold on, I got you.
Yeah. Well, let me point my. Is my finger pointed at it, or does it look stable?
Yeah. Just go like straight down. There you go. Boom. Got it.
Sweet.
All right, bet. Golden Age design for the win. Yeah, Grant. What about James Gunn playing Batman? Hey, dude, at this point, man, you never know. In my opinion, I hope
you would love to. By the way,
let's
call it spade a spade.
100%. In my opinion, I hope the DCU Batman has the white eyes, but I know live action is not the same as comics and animation, so I don't know how they can make it work.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think that they'd have to be innovative. I don't think it's something that can't be done, but like people need to realize, like you just said, Hungry, the white eyes, it's much easier to make it look cool on a 2D piece of paper than it is in live action. The only person who's ever pulled it off is Christopher Nolan.
The white eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only practical one I saw was like Deadpool and Wolverine. And like rewatching it, like it works in the scene that is in, but if you wore it the whole movie, it would be super weird. You know what I mean? If you wore so it's like it would have to be where the eyes come on and off, if that makes sense. Like it isn't like Spider-Man where he can always just rock the white eyes. It would be
also they like with Marvel and Spider-Man with the moving lenses, like that really made a difference because you show the facial expression.
When he blinks, I remember I saw that at Homecoming. And I was like, dude, this is the greatest movie ever. But like at the time I saw it.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's get to something that was crazy. New Captain America comic that came out. Bro, you sent me this. And obviously I went on the app and read it, and you obviously gave me rave reviews about it. So please just talk about it, bro. I mean, you even texted me saying that, like, that you love Cap. I mean, and obviously you read a lot of Captain America. So I really want to ask you, since you read a lot of Captain America, because this is kind of like a reboot, right? So like, I just want to hear your outlook on this new, Captain America story that they're about to tell.
Yeah. So this was awesome. It basically kind of redefined Captain America's emergence. It's like classic Captain America heroism, but modern crises. And it's basically like, it was just so good. If you read, what's it called? Hold on. So if you read Avengers Twilight, you will understand why Chip Zdarsky is the best writer for Captain America. I don't think, and maybe it's a little too early to say, but I think he might go down as the greatest Captain America writer of all time. Basically, this story, Avengers Twilight, I'll tell you about this story and then I'll tell you Avengers story. So basically, this comic opened up with Steve Rogers being freshly thawed, but he woke up in a post 9/11 world instead of the, classic setting. and he immediately drops into like a global political landscape with terrorism, surveillance, covert wars. Nick Fury basically recruits him to help deal with like a covert Latvian threat, and his first mission is going to be to infiltrate Latveria, where Doom is involved with like a shadowy arms deal, and seems like it's going to have to do with terrorists. And it's basically gives us an early tension of just Steve, his idealism, but the murky ethics of global geopolitics. And it's a huge theme. And, you know, if you know anything about Captain America, is Steve always feels like he is a man out of time. That's like one of the famous taglines describing Captain America. But this time he's a man out of time in a world with a lot less moral clarity than people had in World War II. And I love that. Like, you know, a lot of people say they don't like when comics or things get political. One of the things that I think drives me nuts about that is that I think that a lot of people in our space always claim all characters agree with everything about their politics. There's no gray area. And it's just like so intellectually lazy. And, you know, Hungry Cap, right now, Captain America is my number one. I read a ton of comics, so I change. If I'm reading something and I'm really vibing with it, like that's where I'm at. And right now, Captain America is my number one above everyone else. I just love Captain America right now. And one of the things I really love about Captain America, though, is like, and I feel like when I say this, it kind of sounds cringe because you have like the lamest people in the world always saying it, but Captain America has the ultimate moral compass. But like that's a word that I feel like is cringe. And like I'm Jewish, but I feel like a lot of people have ruined the word Nazi by using it in places where it doesn't apply. And it's so aggravating. But you know, Captain America, he's always dealing with Nazis, he's always dealing with politics, and like it's pretty awesome to see. And it's really cool to see Captain America in a post 9/11 world dealing with, you know, weapons being sold to terrorists. Like that is so cool. And I pay very close attention to politics and war and all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate Captain America. I feel like that's what probably why I vibe with him so much. But you know, the best Captain America comics always have, you know, stuff to do with real wars and real things that have taken place in history. And this run started off so strong in that I can't wait. And I can't wait for more. And I started just reading a ton of Cap ever since I read this issue. You know, and the other thing though is if you read Avengers Twilight, like Avengers Twilight was so good. And Chip Zdarsky put Captain America in like a future dystopian world where the Avengers don't really exist. Everyone in America has been brainwashed that the Avengers are the villain, and nobody wrote Captain America so good. It really was a Captain America story. And it's only 6 issues. I definitely recommend reading that. But definitely read this. It was incredible. Probably one of the greatest single issues comics I've ever read. I love it so much. Oh my God. You know, as much as I love Spider-Man, it's annoying that Spider-Man's the only character that gets bi-weekly release. I understand why. I understand that they can't sell as many Captain America comics as they can Spider-Man. But you know, an issue like this, it's annoying to wait a month for the next one.
Yeah, I love that Thunderbolt Ross is in this.
Yes.
That had me very excited because you know it's just like and coming off of Brave New World, I was really on a Thunderbolt Ross high. I'm not gonna lie. Harrison Ford really like I don't know why, but I really vibed with his Thunderbolt Ross, and and I kind of I like the situation how Cap is like working with him again, but the part that had me very interested in this was when he was talking to Reed about Doctor Doom, and Reed's like, "Let me bring the Fantastic Four. Let's go do this." And Cap's like, "No, like we cannot do that. Like I am working with the government. Like there's an order into how we do things, you know." and Reed was kind of like pissed off about it. But
He
I love,
understood.
yeah, like he was frustrated, but he understood what Cap was saying. So and then on the last page of the issue, you see another guy wearing a Captain America shield, which also was open up this thing of like, oh, so the serum is in other people now too. So there's a lot to build on, and I think when Cap finds out, he's gonna be very pissed off about that. But I really like the vibe that they're kind of going with, to where like Cap is abiding by the rules for right now, and it seems like, at least from my perspective, because I know Captain America enough, that there's going to be some shift to where he's going to see that there's like in this new world, in this brave new world, uh, that he's
Think
in.
about that.
Yeah, right. There's definitely going to be some things, bro, that he's not going to like when he finally gets a peek behind the actual curtain. It gives me low key like a Winter Soldier vibe a little bit.
Yeah,
From a seat where he's kind of like doing the work, but he's going to find out some stuff that he doesn't like for sure.
he's probably gonna find out that there are people involved with dealing arms to terrorists that he doesn't approve of. And I love how Stark was in this and Reed Richards was in this. Like Marvel does such a better job of interconnectivity than DC.
Agreed.
And at times I think, and I don't know, I haven't came to an answer or a conclusion on this question that I've been thinking about. And you know what? I'm gonna get like super introspective right now, but I DM'd something to Stevie today, and it made me think so much. Not to toot my own horn, but it was about someone else, but it reminded me of myself, so that's why I sent it to you. You probably knew that when you read it,
Oh yeah.
but the smartest people I know all have this in common. They change their minds often. It's not a weakness, being wishy washy, or a sign of flaky beliefs. It's proof that their ego doesn't outrank new information. The goal isn't to be right, it's to get it right.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, a lot of people, when there's a question, they are so quick to need to find an answer. A lot of that is just not being able to have the intellectual capacity to realize that not all answers are going to be so quick. But the question that I had is, is the DCU at a disadvantage to Marvel with the MCU because the DC comics aren't as interconnected as Marvel? And my thoughts around it are, you know, I don't know if it will be, because they're writing new stories and they're building a new universe from the ground up. They're pulling inspiration from the comics and they can pull stories. But at the end of the day, these are all new stories. It's a new universe. So I don't think it necessarily will, but maybe it does. And maybe to some extent and not fully. I don't really know. What do you think?
James Gunn would definitely have to create and innovate to make it happen, because like even when like let's just take the whole entire new 52 Batman run, Scott Snyder, right? Like, I mean, we start off with Court of Owls, Goated run. We go right from Court of Owls to, I think, Death in the Family, right? And then after that, I think you get Zero. But then
You're,
like,
you're,
yeah, and then I'm pretty sure after Zillier, there's like kind of sort of a crossover. I don't really call it a crossover, but like there's this whole plot line with Superman, some of the Justice League, etc. But the thing is that it's so oddly placed. It doesn't feel like it's a part of the story whatsoever. Even though they try to, it just doesn't, and then
it's
what's
like
also,
it's the second worst arc in the entire run.
yeah. And then something else that I found weird. So I found that on the DC app you can make a list, right? And so I've been adding a bunch of lists. So what I added to my
You
list
could do
was,
that on the app.
you get on the app, right? So I made a new 52 Superman list, because there's certain comics I want to read in it. But I was just scrolling through it, and there's literally like, and I will have to recheck, but I'm pretty sure there's no crossover in the new 52 Superman whatsoever. But then in Batman, Superman pops up in it, and so I'm expecting that Batman was going to pop up in this Superman tie-in to match with what was going on here, but that's not the case. You know what I mean?
I'm
And
willing to.
that's
I'm willing to bet they did that because Batman sales didn't need help, but Superman sales did.
Yeah. And so yeah, and so like I do find it weird. So I think that James Gunn is, bro, going to have to innovate and find ways to bring them in there together, because I mean I do think the Batman and Superman friendship is going to feed families.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I mean it's the bread and butter, bro.
The other thing that James Gunn has said is that he is like, I will never put a cameo in a movie for the sake of making a cameo. And I understand the thought behind it, but I think that he's failing to see the bigger picture if that is something that he stays true to. I think that's a bad move. You're building a new universe and you need to get people excited for those characters. And especially when you're going to be putting out that character's movie, like you need to do cameos. That is one of the things that Marvel thrived on in the beginning. And you are going to struggle if you don't do that.
Thanos in those Avengers cameos, even though we didn't see him another like 5 to 6 years, was still gas because we knew that was that. So that is what we were going to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, you gotta buy into it somehow, because hype does matter. You know, hype
Yeah.
does matter. You just can't, your universe just can't live off hype, which is what the MCU is kind of struggling with
Yeah.
now.
Your universe can't just be a collection of standalone movies that are really good. Your universe has to also be interconnected and cohesive.
Yes, and that's my fear with him doing this. I forget what he calls it, but it's like an island theory, where it's like a Superman island, a Batman island, and I hope that that doesn't mean that like there's no type of crossover like in the solo files, because I don't want it to be like where everybody does their own thing, and then in the Justice League, oh, now everyone's popping up. Like, no. But then again, I mean, look, Hawkgirl's in this, so you know that's kind of, you know, there's other characters that are in this. There's Guy Gardner, so you know there's a case, you know, that's changed. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So hey, great stuff. All right, now for some funds. I really got to use the bathroom, so I'll be right back. But bro,
Okay.
can you please cook on this, bro? Because inferiors keep arguing with me about this still, bro.
Yeah. Logan sucks. Okay. I hate Logan. I hate it so much. You have no idea. Because when it came out, I watched it and I was like, eh. And then all of a sudden, I realized a lot of people online, they put it on these like delete one movie forever. And it's like The Dark Knight, uh, Infinity War, Spider-Man 2, and Logan. And like people say anything but Logan. And I'm just like, are you out of your mind? Logan sucked. It didn't really have a legit plot. It was really just about like Wolverine, you know, being not emotional and end up making the ultimate sacrifice for this little girl. And that was like it. It wasn't really about a villain. It wasn't really about you know, and I think a lot of that came from it being dark. I think like because the movie was dark, people, intellectual inferiors, thought, oh, Marvel finally made like a really dark movie. He bought Percocet in the beginning of the movie. So like this is cool. And then I started realizing a lot of the same people who praise Logan, it's the Zack Snyder cult. And what do they love? They don't care about, it's like they don't care about anything as long as the movie's dark. They're happy.
100%, bro. The reason why I'm not a fan of it is because it, to me, it's like the trope of like the bearded, rugged man saving the girl. Give me very Last of Us vibes a little bit, you know what I mean? And like when you look at all the other, like when I watch Days of Future Past and stuff like that, how do you land with this as the last movie to close your Fox universe when they've gone crazy with Apocalypse and all of these other characters, you know? And that was my whole thing, is like, you know, when I was told that this Logan movie wasn't ending, when at the end of the Wolverine 2 file, we got to see the suit, right? I thought we were finally going to get a comic accurate suit, get a
Yeah.
comic accurate Wolverine to end it off. And if that was the case, honestly, I would have been cool with Hugh hanging it up.
Yeah.
But I think, and I'm this is purely my own logic here. So Hugh Jackman, if I'm wrong, call me out. If Logan was done the way it should have been, I don't think Hugh would have been running back to the MCU as fast as he wanted to. And obviously money talks. I think he got paid a bag for Deadpool, crazy amount of money. But like the way from the press runs in Deadpool and Wolverine, you could tell that he didn't feel that his story was done with Logan. Nor did obviously the guy that plays Patrick Stewart, because he was in Doctor Strange. He's probably going to be and he's also in Avengers. So it's like,
he was also in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. The dog. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So it's like, that movie is so mid, bro. That movie is so not even mid. That movie is so bad.
Mid is another overused word that's cheapened. Mid means mediocre, and people are like using mid to describe
bad.
ass. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, bro. It's like bro.
And that's another thing. I judge people harshly who allow their lingo to constantly be changed by the words people use on the internet.
Yeah. Not by what you actually come up with and say. I feel you.
Yeah. It's like, it's like if there's a new internet trending word and someone always uses it, it's like, okay, you are just someone who doesn't think for yourself.
Yeah. I.e. Beacon of Hope. Sorry, guys. I had to.
It's so corny.
Yeah, so yeah, man, Logan sucks. Okay. All right. Now what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna do some theory court. It's a new segment, and then after that, we are going to read the rest of your chat. So
real quick, I just Googled Beacon of Hope just to see what comes up.
Yeah.
People also ask, what does a beacon of hope mean? I love that.
So people are just yapping, they don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Great. So we have a new segment called Theory Court, just because, man, we live in a world where people just yap so much, and we just need to call it out, man.
Yeah.
So Screen Crush, welcome to the court. I need to buy a gavel. I'm buying a gavel.
Yes.
Amazon and buying a gavel.
I'm let down. I thought we were gonna put someone that like really sucks on Theory Court.
I know. But Screen Crush is the main culprit of this RDJ Dr. Doom thing, and so I had to, bro. So Screen Crush, love your content, but I
meant someone's theory that really sucks. That like we always are sending his theories to. So I thought that.
Oh no, but I'm gonna say his name. I don't care.
Okay.
Hey, Austin, you'll be on here next week. Trust, bro. You'll be on here next week because his theories are bad.
Firing from the hip.
Yeah, always firing from the hip, bro. He's a terrible theorist. Okay, so Screen Crush, you've been called to court because you have a crazy behind theory. And the theory that he talked about, bro, was that Ultron knew that Tony would become Dr. Doom. So let me just break down how he came up with this theory, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So the way that he built this theory was, number one, off of the fact that Ultron had a vision, right, of Tony Stark basically being the center of the end of the world, right? And so his main idea that he's saying is that Ultron's idea of Tony being in the center of the end of the world had to do with him becoming Doctor Doom, which means that his logic is already built on this idea that Tony Stark from the MCU is Victor Von Doom. Okay. And the main reason why he came up with this idea, bro, was from when Vision was talking to Ultron at the end of Age of Ultron, and what Ultron said to him was, "They are doomed," and Vision said yes, and he said that was the sign that Ultron knew that Tony Stark would become Dr. Doom, and the other logic that he said was that like in all of the visions that Wanda gave them, right? So Thor saw Asgard being just cooked out. Natasha more so had like a memory of her past. Cap was finally reunited with Peggy. He said like all of these things came to pass in the MCU except Ultron's vision, which is Tony Stark being the center of the end of the world. So want to hear what your thought is on that theory. And
stupid just off the fact alone that they didn't know they were doing Dr. Doom at this point. So like a lot of these theories are nuked the second you say that. Like everyone's like, oh well, this was the plan for, or a lot of these theories are based on Marvel planning this from a certain point that pre-existed Avengers Endgame when they didn't even know they were doing Doctor Doom at that point. So it couldn't possibly be the plan.
I agree.
I if you have anything more to say on that, I'm gonna. So I received my first ever scoop today. I don't know if it's legit. I really don't know, but we're gonna talk about it.
Sure.
Do you want to change the title? So if you want to clip this, all right. So I sent it to Stevie, so he knows.
Hold on, bro. One second. Let me just add this.
Yeah.
1 second.
I'm not a scooper. I'm really not. It's my first info I got from him. It's just a guy I talked to, and I know he's connected because he gets comic books early, and he has told me about those comic books, and what he has told me months in advance has been accurate. So I know he gets his information from a legitimate place. However, I think this scoop is wild. Like, if it's legit, I would not be happy. I'll tell you that.
Well, let's hear it.
All right. So, I'm scrolling up. All right. So, Shuri is the one. Did you send me this, or is this the one I sent you?
I think that's the one I sent you. You sent me another one. You sent me. Hold on. I want to emphasize the one that you sent. I think is that one. I just emphasize it.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. We have a lot of leaks just going around right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so this is the one I. All right. So I heard the Doomsday teaser for San Diego Comic-Con is Tony and Mephisto from the Soul World after the snap, being granted a new life, then emerges as a baby, which is baby Victor. So I just don't like the idea of Tony and Mephisto and, Victor. Like, I don't understand why Tony has to have anything to do with Victor Von Doom, okay? Because it's just like, I think the casting of Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom broke people's brains. They couldn't get around it. They thought this is like Marvel has to make a connection. How could they not? Because Victor Von Doom is going to look exactly like Tony Stark. So, of course, Marvel's going to make some crazy connection. I think that entire thought logic is wrong. I think it's stupid because it implies that Marvel is going to butcher Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom, their biggest, baddest villain they have in the entire universe. That they are going to completely betray his comic accuracy because Robert Downey Jr. Like, we've seen people play different characters in comic book movies and in the MCU. So I just think it's stupid. I hope it's not true. I don't think it's true because I think Marvel would be really stupid to do that. And especially at the time, everyone's demanding comic accuracy, and all of a sudden they're going to do this. I think it's a wash.
So from all of the leaks that I've read, because I've been really tuned into Doomsday leaks, that's not what I've heard at all. Like that sounds not a left field. So what I've heard in regards to the only relation with Tony Stark and Doctor Doom is that this is what I think with the theories with the leaks that I've heard.
No.
So with the leak I sent you, right? There's a team that's going to go to the other Earth because there's an incursion happening. Fight's going to happen. Doctor Doom's going to turn the Sentinels on, on the X-Men. And this planet where Monica Rambeau is on is actually an X-Men utopia where humans and mutants coincide. Magneto has his Genosha kingdom. Everyone's at peace. And Doctor Doom comes and just tears up everything and destroys everything. And apparently what ends up happening is, based on these leaks, is that Doctor Doom leaves our Avengers with no way to get back home. The Avengers and the Fantastic Four. And what I heard is that he sends a Iron Man variant that looks like RDJ to basically come back to Earth because some of the Avengers are basically already on Earth, and apparently Doom sends a Iron Man variant that works for him to basically act like Tony Stark Iron Man is back in the MCU, but he's really working for Doctor Doom behind the scenes. So that's the leak I heard. It isn't that Doctor Doom fakes as Stark, but it's that he sends a Stark variant that works for him to pose as Tony Stark, but he's working for Doom because basically they were saying that there's going to be some type of thing where like Doom really can't, like Doom is powerful in magic, but something's up with him trying to heal his face. So I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's just the things I've heard. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only relation I've heard in regards to him and Tony Stark. And I ain't gonna lie, I think that's fire. He's sending a variant to the 616 or whatever it is to act like a variant, but he works for Doom. Like that sounds cool to me. But
that could be cool.
Yeah. So and apparently Doom is trying to kill Spider-Man. And that's what I heard is that for some reason Spider-Man is the person that Doom is going after, and I just don't know why. So we'll have to see what happens. But they said that Brand New Day sets that up. Brand New Day sets up why Spider-Man is being hunted after by Doom. So
okay. There's a comic story called International Iron Man. It's short. It's like 6 issues. I'm like halfway through it now, and I don't know exactly what the ending is because I haven't finished it, but I know it has something to do with Tony Stark's real father, and it's potentially not actually Howard Stark. So that's interesting, but I still don't think that they are going to be like, aha, Tony Stark and or Howard Stark and adopted Tony, and Tony is really Victor Von Doom. Especially like, also it makes no sense. Victor Von Doom was born in Bavaria. Like, it's just silly. And there are some people with some big platforms that are like seen as super credible pushing that shit too.
Yeah, I mean, and it gives me a Kang the Conqueror like type of thing where everyone was saying that Kang and Reed are going at it because they're like related, and then when my behind went and read a comic, it's not even really confirmed that they are related. They just got the same last name. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people and also right. Even if they said Kang was related to Reed, bro, Kang and Doctor Doom, and people might not agree, but from the comics I read with Doom and Kang is not on Doom's level. Okay, I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Doom is on a whole other level of importance in Marvel, and Kang is important, but he's not Doom. And so, guys, it's like if you take a character like Darkseid, right, and you make his dad freaking like Batman or it. That's how insane Tony Stark becoming a Doom variant would be. It would be like if Batman is a variant of Darkseid. It just wouldn't make sense. That's how insane it sounds. And you guys took an infamous Iron Man story and you're abusing it to push what you want for the story because you love the Prime MCU.
And most of you haven't even read Infamous Iron Man. And by the way, I didn't say it in that chat, but Darkseid is the most powerful DC villain. It's not Vandal Savage, So a lot of people don't know what they're talking about.
Who said that Vandal Savage is the most powerful?
I'm not going to say because it's actually a friend of ours, so I don't want to put him on blast.
Okay, next topic. Okay, so and last thing I want to say about Ultron and Tony becoming Doctor Doom is that number one, this theory is stupid. Okay, this is one of the dumbest theories I've ever heard. Everything that Ultron did, Age of Ultron was only connected to Infinity War and Endgame. Nothing else. Case closed. Now the last theory, bro, I want you to address before we get out of here is there's a theory, and this theory has been going around a lot, like not just with just YouTubers but fandom, because I had a lot of people comment just not agreeing. So a lot of people think that the multiverse is collapsing because Tony Stark died. And the question I'm asking people, bro, is did you watch Loki? like did you watch even Deadpool Wolverine? Have you watched Doctor Strange? Like any of those movies would show you that that's not the reason why. Yeah. But for some reason, people think that that when Tony Stark built this time machine, that it messed with the multiverse, and the fact that they were on these earths and taking stones, that is the reason why the multiverse is off balance. That's a theory that's kind of been going around a lot.
Yeah. First of all, this sounds like the anchor being theory, and I think that the anchor being concept, I think that shit's stupid as hell. I think they never. I think that was probably one of the worst things Marvel ever did. But the concept of Tony Stark not being supposed to die, like, what does that even mean? Of course, he wasn't supposed to die. He was young, like.
You're so funny, bro.
Stupid. Like, he died, and they made the decision to kill him off in the movie. So yeah, he was supposed to die. It's a stupid theory, and people need to let the Tony Stark thing go. Like, yeah, I was upset they killed him off at the time. I thought it was stupid. I thought that it was going to have consequences that weren't worth killing him off, but I got over it. It's been a long time, man. And like a lot of you just let the Victor Von Doom casting break your brains. And if a certain piece of information breaks your brain wasn't that strong to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, and just to make sure, because I feel like we have to say this repeatedly. The way the multiverse works, you can looking the same doesn't mean you are that person. Chris Evans, Human Torch. Chris Evans, Captain America. RDJ, Iron Man. RDJ, Doctor Doom. Pedro Pascal, Reed. Ian Gruffin, Reed. John Krasinski, Reed. Do they look the same guys? No. Michael B. Jordan, Human Torch. Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. We could do this all day. Okay, we could do this all day. And then also with Tony Stark, this is what is hurting the freaking multiverse, guys. It's very simple. And He Who Remains said it. You should watch. Loki's a great show. You guys should watch it. What he said is there was a sacred timeline, right? Which is our MCU. Okay, and what happened was, and what happens is that what happens, like, different strands can happen, and the reason for the TVA was they destroyed those strands, because with too many strands, it can destroy the sacred timeline, which means a multiversal war, which could destroy the whole entire multiverse. And Kang, as powerful as he is, he cannot control multiple strands of timelines. Okay, and so what happened was Loki took his magic, and now he's holding all of the multiple strands of timelines. He's even grabbing more strands as we speak right now, because new strands of timelines are going. But the reality is, Loki is not going to be able to handle that, and that is why Doctor Doom comes in, and that is where Doctor Doom enters in the story, because Doctor Doom knows the answer, and I'm gonna just leave that for you guys. So. And that's where we are right now. And this is where we go into the Fantastic Four, knowing that Doctor Doom knows the answer. And yes, he's definitely in the post credits. And yes, I believe, and I'm not sure if this is confirmed, I believe he takes Franklin in the post. I 100% do believe it.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. So all right, y'all. We are going to end the show here tonight, homies. Clips are going out every day. TikTok clips from me and comic cuts from the show. And be on the lookout though for our TikToks, especially because I know you'll hear a spoiler-free review out of probably both of us after we see Superman. So please watch out for our reactions. But have a great day.
And please don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Yes, please like and sub, man, and show some love. Have a great day, y'all, and peace out.
Peace. Enjoy Superman.